of bryophyte sexual reproduction that I told that they have the male and female reproductive part. Male reproductive part is antheridium, is it? Male reproductive part is antheridia, and archegonium is the female reproductive part. Antheridium produce anthrazoids. Anthrazoids are flagellated, means they have flagella. Okay, they are usually little bit coil-like structure and have two flagella in them. So this and archegonia is a flask-like structure which produce the egg. When this antheridia, anthrazoids are mature, they are released in water, and by swimming through the water, they reach to the archegonium, and after that, by fertilization, zygote, a diploid structure is produced, and this zygote give rise to a multicellular structure, a multicellular body, and this multicellular body we call the sporophyte. Okay, and of course initially that structure during the development of the sporophyte, that's the embryo formation. Embryo formation takes place. So bryophyte belongs to embryophytes. I think you remember that in algae embryo is not formed. So the sporophyte, this sporophyte is not independent. Sporophyte is attached to the mother plant, remain attached to the mother plant. Mother plant is gametophyte, means the sporophyte is dependent on gametophytic plant for their shelter and nourishment. So they are partially, we can say it is parasite dependent. They don't have independent sporophytic structure. This sporophytic structure may have three parts. One is called foot, this sporophyte. It has foot for anchorage, and seta. Seta is a small or a long one, maybe short or long, and a main body that is known as capsule. Capsule is the main body where the spores are produced. Okay. In some cases, seta may be absent or seta may be very long, but in general, this is divided into this three part. So some of the cells of this capsule, they undergo meiosis and produce haploid spores. The haploid spores germinate and give rise to gametophyte again. Okay. So here the meiosis is not immediate, it is delayed. All right. In case of mosses, no, in mosses, uh, in moss, this is a group of the bryophyte. In mosses, usually what happens when this spore germinate, they give rise to that a primary structure, a juvenile structure which is called protonema. This protonema is filamentous or thalloid. This is either thalloid or filamentous. Filamentous and branched structure, and these protonema give rise buds, and from the buds the adult gametophytic plants develop. All right. So this is slightly different um, from the liverwort. Here you can see that some of the say here you can see this is liverwort. These two are liverwort, and this is a markensia, and these two are the mosses. This one is common moss funaria. All right. This is funaria, the common moss, and this one is sphagnum. Another moss which grow usually in the damp soil or in water, and they keep on growing for long time indefinitely, and they form a structure called bog or peat. So this one is also known as peat moss or bog moss, and Puneria is the most common that moss. This portion, see here, this is the gametophyte which has leaves, and this has a stem-like structure. So this is called the leafy gametophore. Gametophyte is a leafy gametophore and contain rhizoids. The sporophyte, this portion is sporophyte. The fruit is inside the gametophyte. This long stalk-like structure is the seta, and this one is the capsule. The spores are produced within this. In liverwort, the popular one, that Markensia, the male and female sex organ may grow on two different thallus. Okay, this one is a archigoniophore. Archigonia developed on the special structure, a stalked structure called archigoniophore. This look like an open umbrella. Okay, and the antheridia, they developed on the disc of antheridophore. This one not slightly different. Here it is more or less like a disc with a stalk. So this is, but not in all the liverwort that archigoniophore and antheridophores are developed. Here, in some cases, on the vegetative plant of the thallus, we get cup-like structure. This green structure you can see, cup-like structure. This is called the gemma cup or gemma cup. Okay, in which gems are produced and they can give rise to new gametophytic plant thallus. The for anchorage, they have root-like structure, that is the rhizoids. These rhizoids are unicellular in liverwort, but multicellular cellular and branched in case of mosses. Okay, so there is a little bit different in the structure of rhizoids. These plants, economic importance is very less, but ecologically they are important. Importance is there. Ecological importance is there. Ecological importance that I told this, they are the primary colonizer in the formation of vegetation, that is called the succession in the bare places, and they can protect the soil from erosion because they form a mat-like structure on the soil where they grow. And this sphagnum has some special use. This sphagnum is little bit of antibiotic property is there. Due to this antibiotic property, sometimes they are used for healing wounds and used as bandage. Okay, it is told that during the Second World War also that these were used in the bandaging the injured portions of the soldiers. And another thing is that the sphagnum, wherever they grow, they form by their decomposition and all, they form a special type of soil-like structure, that is the peat. Peat is very useful. This is used as fuel also. And this sphagnum and other some leafy mosses, they have a huge capacity of retaining water. water in their body, and they are, when they are dry, they are very much spongy, and due to this, these plants, the mosses, they are used for packaging, packaging of seeds, the corm, rhizome, cut flower. This is C, cut flowers, etc. Okay, for transportation and all. I think here is a common practice. I think you also have done that at your home. Sometime when you grow orchid, is it? When you grow orchid, what do you do? You put orchids on a branch of tree or in a dry logs also. And what is done first, that the mosses are tied on those branches, and then to that the orchid plant is tied. This is because this orchids continuously they require water, and the mosses, if mosses are present, they can supply water continuously. Okay, so this way they have been being used. Okay, now let us practice some of the question from here. Okay, here is the first question. Bryophyte are also called amphibian of the plant kingdom because water is essential for reproduction. They occur only in water. These plants can live on soil but are dependent on water for sexual reproduction. Water is essential for spore formation. What is correct? Which one is the correct answer? Option, please quickly tell.
Option 3, sir.
Yes, option 3, because these plants, they are, these bryophytes, they grow on soil, but the soil should be moist one. Okay, some of the bryophyte, they grow in water also, but soil should be moist one. And here, that for the sexual reproduction, they are dependent on the water. Why it is dependent on water? Because that the male gamete, anthrozoids that reach to the gonium by swimming, and for that at least a droplet of water is required. But another thing is that this is not the only point that why they are called amphibian. Okay, this is not only the same condition is there for the pteridophyte also, but the pteridophytes are not called amphibian. Those ferns and all. Ferns also require water for their transfer of the male gamete to the female gamete. Okay, here what is happened, though these plants grow in soil, but they are not fully adapted to that. They don't have true root, no true root, and another thing, they don't have vascular tissue. Tissue is absent. So they are not fully adapted to the land habit. If it is fully adapted to land habit, they should have well-developed root system and transportation system also. This bryophyte they don't have. That is why bryophytes are called amphibian, not the pteridophyte. Pteridophyte they have well-developed true root and they have vascular tissue also. So this one is correct for. So you have to go according to your book. What is this point has been given. Next question. In bryophyte, an adult plant is a sporophyte. This is a sporophyte, epiphyte, a sporophyll, gametophyte. Bryophyte, the main plant body is what? Gametophyte or a sporophyte?
Gametophyte.
Yes, male plant body is gametophyte. In gametophyte is independent plant. A sporophyte is dependent on the gametophyte. After that, after bryophyte, in case of pteridophyte, it will be main plant body will be a sporophyte. Number 3, the plant body in bryophyte is thallus-like and prostrate or erect and attached to the substratum by unicellular root, multicellular root, unicellular or multicellular rhizoids, all of these.
Option 3.
Yes, it is option 3. They have unicellular or multicellular rhizoids. Not all. True root is not there. Number 4. Here you have to fill in the blanks with the option, from the option, and correct. The gametophyte in bryophyte produce biflagellate anthrazoids. Okay, anthrazoids, that is the male gamete. All right. Biflagellate, flagella, that is organ for movement. So two flagella are there, biflagellate anthrazoids in dash and ovum, female gametophyte in. Here you have to anthridium and carpogonium, anther, ovary, archegonium, anthridium, anthridium, archegonium, which should be in sequence.
Option
The
4.
option 4. Yes, this gametophyte, male gamete developed in anthridium and female gamete or the ovum in the archegonium. Archegonium is female and anthridium is male. Bryophyte shows asexual reproduction and zygotic meiosis immediately. Asexual reproduction and sporic meiosis. No asexual reproduction by sporic meiosis. Gametophytic dominance and zygotic meiosis immediately. Which one?
Option 2.
Option 2. Asexual reproduction and sporic meiosis. This one is asexual reproduction and zygotic meiosis. This zygotic meiosis is not there. This zygotic meiosis takes place mainly in case of algae. Okay, that is meiosis takes place in the zygote in algae, and in case of yes, in algae, in plant. This is asexual reproduction and sporic. Actually, this term should be sporogenic. Okay, sporogenic means spore producing at the time of spore production. In case of animal, this meiosis is gametogenic. Animals, it is gametogenic during gamete formation. Gametogenic. So here it is asexual reproduction is there, and sporic meiosis is there. No asexual reproduction, this is not correct. Gametophytic dominance, this is correct. Okay, this portion. But this portion is wrong. Peat moss is, just now I told, which one is peat moss?
Option 4.
Option 4. The sphagnum is the peat moss. Okay. This Funaria polytrichums are other mosses. Markensia is liverwort. Okay. This one is liverwort. And this Funaria polytrichum, sphagnum, they are moss. And sphagnum is especially called peat moss. Peat or bog. This is also called bog moss. Mosses along with lichen are of great ecological importance because they colonize barren rock and decompose rock materials. Of their contribution to prevent soil erosion, of their contribution in ecological succession. All of all these characters are there for the mosses. These are the ecological importance. So our answer will be all of the above. Gametophytic generation is dominant in
Option 4.
Teredophyte, angiosperm, gymnosperm, bryophyte. Gametophytic is dominant. In Teredophyte, it is sporophyte. After all these, in all these, it is sporophytic generation is dominant. Is dominant. Main plant body in this group of plant is sporophyte, diploid. They are 2n, diploid. In bryophyte, it is haploid. Actually, during the evolution of the plant, if we see from the simple to the complex one, okay, the gametophytic phase reduces and gradually the sporophytic phase increases. increases. So in case of algae, it is mainly gametophyte. In bryophyte also, it is gametophyte. After that, in pteridophyte, it is a sporophyte. Question number 9. In liverwort, asexual reproduction takes place by? Liverwort, asexual reproduction takes place by?
Option 1.
Gymi and fragmentation of the thallus. Those, there are cup-like structures. Okay. And in this cup-like structure, there are very small structures, multicellular structures are produced. Okay. This is called the GEMA, GEMMA, or GEMA, as you pronounce GEMA. And this, when germinate, they easily get detached. Within a cup, many GEMA are produced, and when these germinate, they give rise to new plant from this lateral notch-like structure. So one GEMA can give rise to this. In bryophyte, the vegetative reproduction is very prominent, and when the favorable condition is there, vegetative reproduction takes place, and that is why they grow very fast. Wherever this bryophyte is growing, they cover the entire space. Next question. In mosses, vegetative reproduction. In mosses, oh, that was a liverwort. Now in case of moss. In mosses, vegetative reproduction takes place by fragmentation and budding in the secondary protonema, gemmate formation and endospore formation, gemme and tuber formation, protonema.
Option 1.
Option 1 is the correct answer. This is fragmentation. The plant body, if divide into a small pieces, that they can grow into new adult plant. And budding in the secondary protonema. There is actually this protonema, already told that they are filamentous structure, multicellular filamentous and branched structure, mostly in mosses. Protonema. This protonema are two type. One is primary and another is secondary. Primary one develop from a spore. That spore give rise to primary protonema. When the spore germinate, that protonema is primary, and secondary protonema develop from the adult gametophyte moss plant. Okay, and these primary and secondary both, they produced buds. These structure are branched also, and they produce buds. So many new adult moss plants grow from there. So one spore in other, say, liverwort or other plant, what happened? From one spore, one plant. But in case of mosses, from one spore, many plant. because a spore directly don't grow into a gametophytic plant. It first give the branched protonema. In mosses, sporophyte is differentiated into this one, foot, seta, and capsule. In mosses, the sporophyte is partially parasite on gametophyte, produce gamete that give rise to gametophyte. Now, arise from the spore. A sporophyte does not arise from a spore. From the spore, it arises from a spore produced from the gametophyte. No, manufacture food for itself as well as for the gametophyte. No, that is, it is partially parasitic on the gametophyte. Here is a question, tricky question. This you can say from the cytology also, you can say from here. It is a general idea about cytology as well as the plant. If the chromosome number in leaf of Fidelia is 20, in the leaf tissue, the chromosome number in the cells from a leaf of Funaria is 20. Okay. What will be the chromosome number in the spore? 10,
Option 3.
40, 20, and 5. Option?
3.
Option 3. And another one, someone told something? Hello? The other views? In the leaf, it is 20. So in the spores will be 20. See, leaf is a gametophytic tissue. A spore is haploid. All right. So n number. Leaf also gametophyte. Leaf, stem, rhizoids. All right. Leaf, its a stem and rhizoids. They are all haploid. Spores also haploid because the spore give rise to this protonema. All are haploid. So whatever is the number of chromosome in one, the in all will have the same chromosome number. Only the zygote and the sporophytic plant, sporophyte, that is the capsule, foot, seta, they will have double chromosome number. Okay. In case of foot or capsule, body of the capsule, foot, seta, it will be 40. Read this following statement. These are little bit difficult question. And how many are correct? The sperms are biflagellate. Is it correct? The sperms are
Yes.
released into water and fuses with the egg to produce zygote outside the body. Zygote undergo reduction division immediately. They produce a multicellular body called a sporophyte. So here option
Option 3, sir.
option 3, 1 and 4. Yes, the sperms are biflagellate. This is true. This one, number two statement, this is with egg. This up to here it is right. Okay, correct. But outside the body, this is not correct. Okay, this portion is wrong because this is oogamous and the egg is not released. It remains attached to the archegonia, and archegonia is attached to the mother plant. So not outside the body of the plant. So this one is wrong. Zygote undergoes reduction division. This is wrong. They produce multicellular body called sporophyte. This is correct. So 1 and 2 are correct. So our answer is 4. Come to number 15. This one also is like that. You go through the options. This 1, 2, 3, 4 statements are there. In liverwort, sexual reproduction occurs by the fusion of anthrazoids and eggs, which are produced in anthridium and archegonium respectively. Both male and female sex organ may be present on same thalli or different thalli. Zygote give rise to a sporophyte, which is differentiated into fruit, seta, and capsule. Some cells of the capsule undergo meiosis to give rise to haploid spores. So, which one is correct?
Option 4, sir.
Yes. Here, all the okay, all the four statement they are true about bryophyte. Okay, so this is the correct answer. Then come to question number 16. Consider the following statement about bryophyte. Sexual reproduction is oogamous type. Is it correct? Sexual reproduction is oogamous. This is correct. Is it? Male, and because in the oogamous type of reproduction, male gamete is small and motile, and female gamete is large, massive, and passive. Passive means they do not move. Okay, and massive means size also is large. So massive, female gamete is massive and passive. Male gamete is, that is, micro and motile, active. Sex organs are multicellular and surrounded by a sterile jacket. This is correct. Haploid gametophyte is dominant stage in the life cycle. This is also correct. Which of these statements given above are correct? All the three. 1, 2, and 3. Read the following statements carefully. Read it. Which one is correct?
Option 3, sir.
Means 2, 3, 4. Statement. Funaria possess unicellular and unbranched rhizoid. This one is wrong because Funaria are mosses. In mosses, the rhizoids are multicellular and branched. Okay. Jimmy are asexual buds which originate from a small receptacle called Jima cup. This is true. Sphagnum plants have magnificent property of retaining water. That is correct. Mosses along with lichen are the first organism to colonize rock. Yes, that this is known as succession. Okay. Zeros here we can call sometime ecological succession. Succession means ecological succession means during the production of vegetation in a particular area. No, we see that in our around, no, big trees and other type of plants are there, but they have not suddenly they have not come up. No, it has taken thousands of years to form this type of vegetation. A time was there was no plant at this place. Okay. So initially, those that type of barren place, when the new plant grow, there is the first one is lichen and mosses. First is lichen, then lichen and moss together. So this is called succession, one after another. A new, a better one, large one appear. Okay, one group of plant replace the other group of plant, and gradually this climax vegetation is produced. This is known as ecological succession, and condition is called the zear, or when it is from the barren rock, this is zero zear. If it is the vegetation start from water body, hydrosphere. Xerosphere, it is in the barren, that is in desert-like condition. So it is 2, 3, and 4 statements are correct. 2, 3, and 4. So this is. Now the last question. Protonema is haploid and is found in mosses, diploid and found in liverwort, diploid and found in Teredophyte, haploid and is found in Teredophyte.
Option 1, sir.
Option 1, Protonema is a haploid because it produces from haploid spore and it is found in mosses. So these are some of the questions, and you can practice even if more questions are there from your practice book. Okay, now we will start the next. Of course, it is going to be time, but still we will come to next one. Here, the Teredophyte. Next group of plants. Okay, Teredophytes. Teredophytes, these are actually ferns and a related plant. Ferns and allies, ferns and related plant. One of the common is known as horsetail. Plant look like the tail of the horse, a common plant. Okay. ferns and still they are pteridophytes. Pteridophytes, pteris, this is, they have feather-like, the ferns, feather-like leaves, is it? And the pteridophytes, ferns particularly, they are known for their beautiful leaves. This is, the pteridophytes are the successful land invader. Okay, they have come to the land successfully. Why? Because they have the real root. True root is there for the fixation to the soil nicely and for absorption of water and mineral. That is anchorage and absorption. And they have developed good conducting system. Good conducting system is that vascular tissue, tissue present for better conduction, and they have the tissue differentiation. Different types of tissue is there, particularly the mechanical tissue. Tissue for strength. Okay, so they are well adapted, and this is a plant where the main plant body is a sporophyte now. Okay, and a sporophyte and gametophyte are independent. This is an unique character in the plant kingdom. Because in bryophyte we have seen the sporophyte is dependent on the gametophyte. In the higher group of plant, in gymnosperm, angiosperm, the gametophyte is dependent on the sporophyte. But in pteridophyte, gametophyte and sporophyte both are independent. But the dominant phase is, dominant main plant body is a sporophyte. They have vascular tissue, and they have well developed root. Plant body has plant body is differentiated into true root, stem, and leaves. Okay, this is important. They are vascular plant, but they do not produce seed. Okay, these plant pteridophytes are known as vascular cryptogams. Okay, they have vascular tissue. Vascular tissue has first appeared in pteridophyte, and they are cryptogams. Cryptogams, they do not produce flowers, or as they do not produce flower, they are cryptogams. They don't produce seeds, so they are vascular cryptogams. Okay, so I will close it here today, and in the next class with some characters about the pteridophyte I'll give, and then we will have some question. Okay, do you any question? Do you have anything? Hello, hello, students. Do you have any question? No. Then I will disconnect. Okay, stop here today. So
Thank you,
bye.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Welcome.
sir.